Keith Harry.
Have you ever been called a genius? And it wasn't followed with laughters, jokes, sarcasm? Well, I have. Back in 1983, back when they had pagers, young man. I was 13 years old, 8th grader, and I had this school thing all figured out. I'd sit in the back of the room, read the best comics, do absolutely nothing, and just slide my way right into Seaville. Everything was going great. I was pretty lucky until that teacher, Mr. Ivy. He derailed my train for Seaville and gave me a one-way ticket straight down to F-Town. Fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests, friends, can you believe he gave moi an F? An F on my report card, nonetheless. Raise your hand if you've ever had to bring something home to mom or dad and you knew they were going to kill you. That's right. We're not scared of death, are we? No. But our minds begin to fixate on how they're going to kill us. My mind kept wandering, and I kept thinking to myself, what really is the difference between an F and a B? And all I could hear through the silence was a voice, 2 little humps. I took out my pen, and I changed my F into a B. That's right. And it looked good, too. I was impressed. I ran home. I gave it to Mom. You know what she said? Oh, Keith, I'm so proud of you. I knew you could do it. True genius. True genius. Little did I know, Mr. Ivy had contacted my mother the very next day to discuss my failing grade. When I came home that evening, Mom and I had a little conversation. It didn't go well for me. After I awoke from my coma, I found myself in Mr. Ivy's room, sitting in the back, doing what I always do, reading comics and doing nothing. But this day, it was different. This day, Mr. Ivy walked up to me, grabbed my book bag off my desk, took it to the front, and dropped it there, and said, "Genius, you belong up front." I thought the man had lost his mind. He did know I just failed his class, but he called me a genius. The very next day, same exact scenario. "Genius, you belong up front." This continued for several days. And like Pavlov's dogs, I learned that I was to answer to genius and that my seat was in the front. He called me a genius so often and so loudly that it trended throughout the school. #genius. Everywhere I went, they called me a genius. Other students called me a genius. Other teachers, even the janitor called me a genius. One day, out of nowhere, he asked the toughest question in class, and I raised my hand. Because for once, I knew the answer. You see, I had embodied that concept of being a genius. I started to believe that maybe I could be this genius. So I read my books. I did the homework. I paid attention in class, and I raised my hand proud. "Please call upon me, please." Do you know what that man told me? "Put your hand down, genius. Stop being a braggart. We all know you know the answer." Let's talk for a second. How would you feel if your boss and every one of your coworkers said that you were the best employee at work? How would you feel? How would you feel if they told you you were the best timer in all of Toastmasters, or you the best speaker, or you the best evaluator, and everyone agreed and applauded, how would you feel? Talk. Think about it. I bet you'd feel courageous. I bet you'd feel honored. I bet you'd feel special. Well, Mr. Ivy gave me all that and some. He gave me the most valuable gift known to man, the gift of himself. Now, I'm not talking about gifts in terms of possessions and money. That's no real gift. There's no real value in that. Khalid Gibran once said, when you give the gift of possessions, you give but a little. It's when you give the gift of yourself, that's when you're truly giving. I'm feeling lucky today, so I'm going to tell you what I want you guys to do. I want each and every one of you to give the gift of yourself. The most valuable gift known to man. And it's a simple gift. It's like eating ice cream. You give someone kind words. You give someone encouragement. You give someone their attention. You can't give yourself to everyone, but you can give yourself to someone. And together, we can change the world one someone at a time. One person at a time. Every time I tell this story, I get the same remarks, the same looks. Are you seriously telling me, Keith, that man, all he did was call you a genius and it changed your life forever? Absolutely. As sure as I'm bald with a tie on. Without a doubt, it changed my whole way of thinking. It made me see the value in the little things. The little things. Just think about it. When was the last time you talked to somebody and they were playing with one of these, their cell phones? How did you feel? Did you feel like you were talking to them? Did you feel important? No. Turn them off. Take the time and give people the gift of yourself. Dale Carnegie said it best. Life is like a boomerang. You give, you get. In other words, if you give the gift of yourself, you are guaranteed to receive that gift. Here's my gift to each and every one of you. You are a genius.